A lot of people, I feel like when they choose poses, they're like, oh, dynamic, very gestural. It is expressionful. I just choose my poses because they're hot, okay? And they're very flattering. Hi everyone, it's Maymay, and welcome back to the second part of the HuiYing sketch. This is one other outfit. I know I've been gone for many months, and I do apologize for that. Honestly, it's just a combination of autistic burnout because of my demanding internship, and hyperfixation just wasn't on videos, it was on a whole bunch of other different things. Also, I kept having an identity crisis on how I wanted to take my videos, but then I realized that I just want to make videos. I'm not some sort of corporation with a theme about how am I supposed to be releasing my videos. Speaking of the outfit sketch, it's been many months, as I said before, since then, and I have released many different changes and updated HuiYing's design so many times that this is outdated by like a whole year. But I have so much content on this, and so I still want to make something off of it. Not money. Anyway, this video isn't intended to be a tutorial, but rather like how I go about tackling the everyday problems of an artist, because there's a lot of different ways to do things, which makes art very anxiety inducing. And I'm a crazy person for continuing to be an artist despite how much anxiety it gives me. Anyway, I know I'm rambling, but if it helps, I'm a very logical person, and art isn't really intuitive to me the way that I might come to a lot of other artists. And so hopefully my thought process will help the more logical viewers out there try to understand how to tackle art. And if all else fails and you don't get anything learning-wise out of this, just use this video as a body double. Like, for whatever you're doing, maybe you're doing art too, and you also find art very anxiety-inducing. I also wrote, the way I choose will expose me as a— oh, that's right! The way I choose my poses will expose me as a person, because a lot of people, I feel like when they choose poses, they're like, oh, dynamic, very gestural, it is expressionful. I just choose my poses because they're hot, okay? And they're very flattering. Anyway, down to the actual sketch. So, first, to get started, I will be pulling my pics from Pinterest, despite I think I've heard before that Pinterest is not the best, especially for artists, because a lot of people post stuff without giving credit to the original artist. And I'm not going to be using Pinterest to get art. I'm going to be using Pinterest to get pictures of K-pop idols, because K-pop is a special interest of mine. So for the first pose, I chose this one because it was very face heavy, as in that it looks like the most interesting part of the pose is the face. And I like drawing faces because they're kind of easy, the fact that it's facing forward. But also it's still challenging in a sense, so I could still learn, because it is a kind of a perspective challenging pose. And it also has hands that deal with foreshortening, and I suck with that. I don't know how to draw hands. And as you'll see, I will leave it as a skeleton, as you see in the video, because I don't want to get bogged down with the details, because if I do, then I'll spend 8 hours on a sketch, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to move on as I have the flow for drawing. So for this second pose, I chose it because it looked very flattering and confident. Honestly, I'm like a very simple person. I see boobs and butt, and my monkey brain goes, heh, nice. And that's exactly why I chose this pose. But as for the challenging part to help me learn to become a better artiste, is the fact that it's kind of like the leg is kind of foreshortened a little because it is facing forward. It's very subtle and it's hard to get that. Also that there's like hidden overlapping body parts. So I kind of have to guess what's behind, or like what's the hidden part. The next pose I chose is because the body was front facing, which makes it easy to draw. Also, it looked really cute and playful. And I think at the time Nayeon released the pop song, her pop song, well, it's called Pop, but she released it, and so I kind of just wanted to use the leverage of popular music to perhaps get some views, but you know, I released this like what, a year later, so I don't want to say it's no longer relevant, but I miss my train, the hype train. Anyway, you'll see that this pose actually isn't featured in the final sketch. I think it was just overwhelming, and there's just a lot of things going on. So one thing to take away from this is this wise quote that part of the process of drawing is learning to let go even the creations you hold dear. Again, I'm going to leave this as a skeleton, move on to the next and last pose, which is complete fan service and anatomy study. But yeah, anyway, all the heh boo booty whatever thighs thing aside, it is a very dynamic pose and it's playful and all of that stuff with gesture and liveliness and all of the good stuff that a good artist needs. But in the end, the pose is playful and it's hot. So after I'm done with all the skeletons, I revisit them and start dressing them up. I already have a reference for how I drew HuiYing's clothes. I do have a video explaining how I came up with those ideas, and I'll put the link in the description below. But if you don't want to watch the video, in essence, I'm just going for an Asian mafia fairy vibe. Audio change because I'm recording this on a different day, because when I was listening back I realized I sounded like I didn't know what I was talking about. Moving on. From here I'm going to be veering off from the pose by pose commentary, because for the most part each pose is going to have the same clothes. So for now I'm just going to talk about how I went about using flow for HuiYing's clothes here. For the most part, HuiYing's clothes are very tight, so usually what causes folds is an excess of fabric. The only parts where they're gonna be honestly like an excess of fabric or something draping, not clinging onto her skin, are gonna be, it's gonna be around the waist. And then also her sleeves, because they're very flowy. And the end parts of the dress, because I've decided I wanted to have them ripped up. Those are gonna be the only parts that have folds. Other than that, every other part is gonna be tight. And on top of that, I was envisioned HuiYing as having very light, airy, flowy clothes. So where there are folds, like the creases, there are going to be a lot of crinkles and wrinkles and stuff like that. Honestly, again, she's not wearing a lot of things. So the most of the wrinkles you're going to see are probably going to be around the waist. So let's get started with learning how to tackle clothes. I know clothes are very scary to tackle because there's so many different types of clothes from different time periods, from different cultures. The one thing that all fabric and textiles have in common, at least for me, what I think it is flow and texture. Because this video is mainly on sketching and line art, we don't have to worry about texture right now. So strictly talking about flow. So flow, I like to think of it as fold or no fold. That's basically it. There's a million tutorials out there teaching you how to draw folds in a clothes. I don't want to say don't follow the tutorials, but I do want to ask you to be mindful when you are learning from them, because when people make these tutorials, it's usually centered around one type of fabric. There are a lot of different ways to go about drawing folds in the clothes, like how many folds you should do versus like where you should put them. And that is going to be highly dependent on the situation that you're drawing your subject or character in. So just keep that in mind, mostly just revolving around the type of fabric it is, because the type of fabric is going to affect how many folds you have in the clothes versus how it drapes and stuff. So that's pretty much how I can tell you about flow. If you want to learn how to draw folds, best thing to do is look up a specific reference for the specific type of fabric you're going for. And if you don't even know the types of fabric, then I suggest looking into different types of fabrics. I know art is it's like one of those things where like, if you want to learn how to draw clothing from imagination, you're going to have to look up a lot of different things, unless you are going for an exact reference, or unless you have a specific reference already in mind. one tutorial isn't enough to cover everything you need to know about drawing clothes, which is why I advocate for not wearing clothes. I mean, your character is not wearing clothes. Okay, you get what I mean. Let's move on. That's how much I will go to the extent of flow here, because this is more of a commentary on my own art rather than a tutorial. And I can and I will make a tutorial sometime in the future, but that's how I can describe clothes for you. Oh, and also you can see throughout the video that at some point I make an outfit change along the way. Because I went ahead and thought, like, I saw some pretty shoes on Pinterest and I was like, ooh, what if her toes showed? And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. This is a perfect time to learn some feet anatomy. It's still... I know it looks bad, but I've never drawn feet in my life, and at some point I'm gonna have to learn. So here's my learning time. Anyway, that's it for the sketch. Hopefully you took something away from this. If not, thank you for being a real one and staying throughout the video. Now, if you're interested in seeing some more HuiYing, I occasionally post a picture or painting of her on my social media. And I do have previous YouTube videos featuring her design and stuff. So if you want to see more of her, you can check out the series in the link description below. But if you're not interested, that's okay. I do have other things, and I will have future things. So if you want to support me, go check out my other content, please. Anyway, thanks everyone. See you in the next one. Okay, bye. Testing the anxiety. Okay. La 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 la. Anxiety. I have Baldur's Gate open. I'm going to try to not breathe with my mouth open when I talk. Can you still hear that? Versus... Okay, yeah, you can still hear that. Okay, let me hear it. I swear to God, it sounds like I have not anxiety. I mean, I have anxiety, but it sounds like I have asthma when I talk. In my paper, I have like a script, like a book that I can read off of that I wrote the script for, specifically because I know I'm not good at talking on the spot. And yet here I am still struggling. Because now when I read it out loud, even though I have read it out loud, it still sucks. So, in my head, in my first recording, I thought it was pretty good, but it wasn't. One thing to take away from this is this wise quote that one of the process of... Wait, what? No. This is a perfect time to learn some feet anatomy. Ah, God, I'm cringy. Anyway, I will catch you in the future one, or future video. I don't know, ending and outro.